in the administration's efforts to counter anti-Semitism and other forms of discrimination. Help us get the boots on the ground. We can do better, and our students deserve no less. I thank the witnesses, and I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. The gentleman yields back. Without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witnesses. Our first witness is Mr. Connor Ogrijic. Mr. Ogrijic is a recent graduate of the University of Buffalo. While a student at Buffalo, he served as the treasurer, vice chair, and chairman of the university's Young Americans for Freedom chapter. He faced threats and protests from fellow students over speakers that his organization invited to campus. Thank you for being with us. Ms. Jasmine Jordan. Ms. Jordan is a student at the University of Iowa. She serves as the chairwoman of the university's Young Americans for Freedom chapter. She has received threats from her fellow students over events that her organization has invited to campus, and their recent pro-Israel vigil was vandalized and disrupted by protesters. We apologize for that, and thank you for doing that. Ms. Amanda Silberstein, as the ranking member has already talked about, Ms. Silberstein is a student at Cornell University. She serves on the student board of the Reutemann Chabad Center at Cornell, the leadership of the Alpha Kappa Psi professional business fraternity, and as the director of marketing and communications for a Cornell-based startup. Thank you, Ms. Silberstein, for being with us today. Mr. Kenneth Marcus. Mr. Marcus is the founder and chairman of the Louis D. Brandeis Center for Human Rights Under Law. He previously served as the Assistant Secretary of Education for Civil Rights, the staff director of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, and as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity. We appreciate your work, Mr. Marcus, and thank you for being with us. Professor Pamela Nadell. Professor Nadell holds the Patrick Clendenin Chair in Women's and Gender History and is the director of the Jewish Studies program at American University. She has taught a variety of courses on Judaism and Jewish and women's history and has published several related books. We appreciate you being here, Doctor. And Ms. Stacy Burdett. Ms. Burdett is a public policy strategist and consultant. She has previously served as the Vice President for Government Relations, Advocacy, and Community Engagement at the Anti-Defamation League, and as the Director of Government and External Relations at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. We welcome all our witnesses and thank them for appearing today. We will begin by swearing you in. Would you please rise and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God? Let the record show that the witnesses have answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You may be seated. Please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony in 5 minutes. I think we'll just go like we did. We'll start with Mr. Ogrijic, and then we'll move right down the line. So you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Nadler, and members of the committee.
Committee will be in order. Committee will be in order. We appreciate people being here, but the committee has to be in order. If you, we will remove every single person who disrupts the committee. Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Nadler, and members of the committee. My name is Connor Ogrijic, and it is an honor to bring my experiences before you today. Although I had hoped...
Speaking up against genocide become anti-Semitism. How is that the same?
Committee will be in order. Again.
Although I had hoped that my arrival to
Here's
higher
a hearing for Palestinian students.
Mr. Ogrijak, we'll keep trying.
Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Nadler, and members of the committee.
Palestinians deserve to speak on the genocide of their families.
All right, sit down. You be
Palestinian students deserve to speak on the genocide of their families. Stop silencing Palestinian students. Stop silencing Palestinian students. Stop silencing Palestinian students. They're speaking on the genocide.
People just being removed or arrested.
Gentleman is recognized.
It is an honor to bring my experiences.
Palestinian students should not be censored. You want to talk about putting money where your mouth is? There are 10,000, over 10,000 Gazans dead and more buried, half of whom are under the age of 18. And you're going to send money and talk about this? Where are the anti-Zionist Jews in this room? Nowhere. So you are not offering a plurality of opinion. You are offering partisanship. And you are offering murder to more Gazans. Free Palestine!
My name is Connor Ogrijak, and it is an honor to bring my experiences before you today. Although I had hoped that my arrival to higher education would mark the arrival to a bastion of free speech, many of my firsthand experiences of freedom of speech violations at the University at Buffalo came during my membership of UB's chapter of Young Americans for Freedom. Two of the most prominent examples of freedom of speech bias that I witnessed at the university each came in the form of speaker events hosted by my chapter. In spring of 2022, as vice chair of my chapter, I had the opportunity to assist with hosting Lieutenant Colonel Alan West at UB, an event which was preceded by delays in the signing of our contract and a forced venue change, which was exposed by a Freedom of Information request. However, the most striking action taken against us followed Lieutenant Colonel West's speech, which had included a discussion of race in America and accounts from his decorated past. When the floor was open